Hey guys, it's Nemo and welcome to today's World of Warships video. We'll be having a look at the Tier 9 Royal Navy Battleship, the HMS Lion. Now you will notice down in the left hand corner that I have 58,600 hit points. And the reason is that this ship is completely stock. Exactly the same as the Monarch video, this ship is going to be done stock. Now the reason that I'm doing these stock is that the grind from tier 8, 9 and 10 is so long that if you don't have hundreds of thousands or millions of free XP or millions and millions of credits hanging around, you are going to be playing stock ships or half-built ships for quite a long time. So if I show you how these work while they're stock, then at least you know how to be effective when you haven't got all the upgrades and things like that. And to be honest, the Royal Navy battleships are very effective even as stock. Some ships struggle when they're stock, such as the Amagi at tier 8 in a tier 10 game. You know, she has quite a bit of trouble. But the Royal Navy battleships are quite good. And the reason for the Royal Navy battleships being so good is that they have such a great surface detection. Now, Tier 9, so the Lion is where you first start getting the super Royal Navy heel. Sometimes I don't use it that correct in this battle. But it is really good, and the more damage you take from HE, the more you can recover. So as long as you're not taking AP penetrations, you can recover more and more damage, which is good, which is what you like. So we have a 12 kilometer surface detection. This is with a full stealth build on both the captain and my modules. And because of that, you want to get close. As you can see here, I'm pushing up with my Ibuki and both my destroyers. Now my destroyers are my division mates, so I'm going to get up there and help them anyway, but if they weren't in a division with me, I would still be moving up close because of this surface detection. 12 kilometers, there's a rune there who doesn't even know I'm here. And like I say in every tutorial where it's about Royal Navy, start with AP. And this is why you start with AP. He's giving broadside here. He's turning away from the destroyers, and I can smack him. There's nearly 15,000 damage out of him in the first salvo. Now that's a lot out of a cruiser. It's going to maybe rock his confidence. It's going to make him think about his positioning for the rest of the game. So the good thing about the Royal Navy battleships is that we can get up close. Now before this concealment nerf came in, the Lion was about, I think it was 11.7 or something like that, and the Conqueror was 11.3. And it's a real shame that you see, you know, when you think about a Conqueror play, you think about someone hugging the J line, spamming HE everywhere. So what I want to do is I want to get into a position where I can protect my ships while taking damage. Now you don't want to take copious amounts of high explosive damage because yes, Royal Navy battleships can dish it out, but they take it. That they suffer so much from high explosive spam compared to other battleships. Now at the moment I've only got a 12 point captain on here because I've put the Burt Dunkirk captain into it. So what I want to do is build him up to be the captain there. But you only really need 10 points to make an effective Royal Navy battleship. The rest is just whatever you want to run. So as you can see, I'm angled here, stern towards the enemy. And I'm just pulling my nose around a little bit more because I want to give angle to the North Carolina, but I don't want to give too much angle because the Musashi behind me. There's a very flat end at the back of the Lion that if the Musashi fired through at a closer range especially, he could get citadels quite easily. So I'm firing high explosive over there onto the North Carolina. There was a torpedo that hit him earlier, and if you see torpedoes going through and hitting battleships, what you want to do is use your excellent fire setting chance to put fires onto things that are flooding, because it's likely you'll get one or two fires every time that you fire off your high explosive on a battleship especially. Now here I just misjudged the reverse speed of the Musashi, but I'm not too worried about being detected. As you can see, the Alsace there is under concentrated fire, and if you're spotted but you're not being aimed at, and this is why we run priority targets, so we know who's aiming at us, you don't need to panic, you don't need to go into an absolute frenzy and try to wiggle your ship like it's a destroyer. We don't need to do that. Now here's a good example of the penetration that the high explosive can do. We get a big shot there. There's 11,000 damage on high explosive penetration plus a fire, and that's one reason why a lot of people who play other battleships and see Royal Navy battleships firing high explosive, they don't have this kind of penetration. Royal Navy high explosive has the 1/4 penetration, so it does a lot more damage to any ships with both penetration and fire damage. Other battleships don't have the 1/4 penetration, they've got the 1/6 penetration. So then what that means is that you go through and you times the caliber of your shell by 4, and that's the kind of penetration that you do with high explosive on the Royal Navy ships. And then with others you go 1 times 6, so your caliber times 6. Now a good thing about having high explosive here ready is that I was already ready for that destroyer. I knew he was hanging around, I saw him smoke up a little bit before. A good thing about being close here as well, I'm not in torpedo range, which is what you don't want to be with any battleship, but I'm close enough with this great concealment, and even when I'm burning I've still got a great concealment, that I can affect the battle in that way. So you want to, with a Royal Navy battleship, or any battleship really, but Royal Navy battleships more to an extent because you have that concealment, you want to get close so you can affect the battle. And when a Jutland comes out like that, or any destroyer comes out like that, you can hit him very hard, and taking out the eyes of the enemy is going to win you games all the time. So now what we want to do is we've removed our greatest threats. We've removed the destroyer, who can torpedo us and kill us quite easily, and we've removed the Musashi, who can overmatch all our armor and kill us quite easily. So now what we want to do is push through with our destroyers. The only problem here for me is that I'm now priority number 1 to 3 cruisers, and when 3 cruisers are high explosive spamming you, you will take a lot of damage in a Royal Navy battleship. So what I'm going to try and do is head up towards this island and pop off my heel. Unfortunately I'm still going to get hit and you'll see how much damage I'm taking and accumulating while the heel is running a bit later. The good thing about being close to your allies as well is that you can help them out with anti-air. This is a very heavy CV meta where there are a lot of aircraft, there are a lot of planes flying around. Destroyers are extremely vulnerable to our aircraft carriers, and that's why destroyers are being targeted, because they haven't got the anti-air to deal as much damage with enemy aircraft. And when everyone else is blobbing up and overlapping their AA, it's making it very hard for CVs to attack anything else in the early battles, and that's why destroyers are being attacked with impunity pretty much. So if we've got good AA, we've got good concealment, let's get up there and defend our DDs. You know, destroyers are the lifeblood of your team. They have such a big role in both spotting and capping and, you know, contesting the points. So we need to keep them alive as much as we can. So if we can use ourselves as a shield to defend them, then we will. So we've got 4 seconds here for the heal to go. See how much we can heal? We can actually heal quite a lot, but because I'm under concentrated fire while I've hit my heal, it will get whittled down very quickly. Now, Royal Navy battleships, they do heal quite quickly. I try to get back behind the island as quick as I can. It just doesn't work. And I start losing lots and lots of health there. Now, as you can see, my AA is going off. I'm close enough to my destroyers that I can give them AA cover and protect them. I haven't shot down many planes at all, but throwing the AA into the air is making the aircraft carrier player a little bit nervous. You know, he doesn't really want to lose planes, and unfortunately it doesn't scatter. There's no scatter at the moment, but there is a hot fix coming out, and they are going to be working on CVs. I read on the dev blog until 8.0.4 or 8.4, one of those anyway. So it'll be the next 3 patches after the one we're in that they'll still be working on the CV balancing. So even though I'm burning to death here and I've got no heals left, because I did pop some a little bit prematurely, I think, it's my job to get up there and tank away. Now, in hindsight, looking at this, I could have just gone and hidden. It would have been a good enough strategy. We've got 3 caps, there's 3 enemy ships. I'm always telling you guys, let's play the objective first and we'll cap out. Now the only reason that I'm going up here is I know I've got no health at all. I'm going to get killed, but if I can protect my destroyers just a little bit longer with AA, then they will have more of a chance to be effective and do their role. Now, as I said before, the best thing for Royal Navy battleships is their concealment and their positioning. Now, there was a time there before where I was getting hit and chunked out by the Zhao earlier in the battle, but if you want to try and hit a Zhao at long range, it's going to be very difficult because a Zhao player will usually be running away, kiting away while shooting at you. So trying to hit a Zhao player at 17 kilometers is quite difficult. So I've gone to HE here. Now the reason I've gone to HE here is because, one, I want to use its high damage penetration, but I also want to use its splash effect. The HE on the Royal Navy battleships has an extremely good chance of setting a fire, so I wanted to try and set one on any of my enemies that I could, and unfortunately I didn't get the fire, but get killed here. I was using my own Zhao as a torpedo shield. I knew that I was going to die to either a torpedo or getting gunned down. I mean, if you're going to get gunned down when you've got hardly any health left, and this is why I thought that it might have been a bad idea in hindsight to go north. Is we might have all the caps now, but we've gone from a quite a large ship advantage now down to 5 versus 2, and this can be there are players who have won games from here. I mean, how many people have you seen get solo warriors from games from here? I mean, the Zhao could get killed and the enemy CV could have an absolute field day. You never know. But we got up there, we tanked, we've got some good plane damage there, we've got even good spotting damage, we've got over 105,000 damage with a critical kill. At any time you kill a destroyer, it's a critical kill. It takes the eyes away from the enemy. Now, the enemy CV at the moment is enough to be eyes for their team, but he can't. If you got eyes on one side of the one side of the map and not the other, then it becomes difficult to play. We had a game the other day where there was one DD and a CV on each team, and our DD went to C cap and the enemy DD went to A cap. So we had no eyes for our A cap, our A players, whereas our C players had the eyes. And so you take out the eyes of the team, you're going to win, especially if you take out destroyers, because of how effective they can be. Good destroyer captains, they'll win games. Anyway, not too bad, especially stock. As I said, this is a stock ship, so everything is stock. AA is stock. Guns are stock, they're not upgraded or anything like that. Third on the team, you always want to finish. If you're top tier or mid tier, you always want to finish up near the top, so that means you've done enough to affect the battle, and that's what you want to do. You don't want to be hanging around and not being able to pull your weight at all. Now, as I said, as you can see, I've only got a 12-point captain up there. It's the new Burt Dunkirk captain I got out of the Royal Navy event. I haven't really played him much. It's only thanks to my subscriber Arthur Lion that I'm actually finishing off this line. You can see there all my modules are stock, so we want to run all premium consumables as always. First upgrade, we want to go with Main Armaments Mod 1. That's to protect our turrets. Turrets can get destroyed relatively easily if you're not careful, especially from battleship AP like a Yamato or something. Damage control system, because you do cop a lot of HE spam. We want to go with the aiming systems mod 1 because of the extra accuracy. You can run the AA if you're worried about the CVs. I've got damage here because of the splash, but the propulsion mod would do handy as well. Concealment, because we want to get down to 12 kilometer concealment, and main battery mod 3 for extra reload time, increased reload time. Now, our first captain point is priority target. You want to know how many are shooting you. It allows you to play less frantic, which is always good. Now, because it's Burt Dunkirk, we're going to run with the expert marksman. I'd run expert marksman on any battleship anyway. Basics of survivability, and then concealment expert to get to that 12 kilometers of detection. Now, this is only 12 points, but as you can see here, I'd probably run AR as well, expert loader, and then I'd probably run fire prevention. That's an extra 7 points, which means I'd still have 2 points left over, and that'll be a really, really handy ship. I'm really enjoying the Royal Navy Battleship line, which is strange because I don't really like battleships that much at all. I don't like the slow rate of fire. I don't like the size and the detection and things like that. There's no real versatility. But I really find the Royal Navy battleships are a pleasure to play. I really enjoy them. So we'll keep pushing on towards the Conqueror, tier 10, and we'll get there eventually. Anyway guys, thanks for joining me, and stay safe out there.